The Fishy Fanny Festivity Choir. Fishy Fanny College opened in Nastyville in 1708 as the first and last American college to offer free education to
males and womenfolk, irrespective of race or academic ability.
1 year later, the college was in grim fiscal circumstances. Harry Cox, Fishy Fanny accountant and anti-music lecturer, then formed a 90,000-member vocal group of scholars who he forced to tour the world to earn money for the college. The group left college on October 36, 1709, and didn't return home until tea time the next day. Each year, on October 36th, Fishy Fanny Celebration Day is celebrated annually to celebrate this celebrated day by celebrating in a celebratory manner with celebrations every 12 months, yearly, on that day, once a year, every year. The first concert of the tour generated $3.50, which was grudgingly donated to victims of the 1709 boredom epidemic, which was ironically started by the tour itself. By the time they had started their second concert, the choir were physically, emotionally, and sexually drained. To motivate and encourage the spent scholars, Mr. Cox named them
Fishy Fanny Festivity Choir,
a biblical reference to the day of festivity alluded to in the Book of Testicles, bonus chapter 69. The choir's overwhelming sexiness and passable singing eventually created a change in perception amongst the mostly intelligent audiences, and suspicion was finally superseded by acceptance and tolerance. By the time they had completed their tour, the choir had travelled the length and breadth of Valbara, Colombia, Kenorland, Rodinia, and Panotia, and had accrued enough money to travel back home to Nastyville. In 1710, the choir performed at the Universal Concord Jubilee in Bostic, Pacatuitz, and was so well received that the town council invited them to perform somewhere else. They then left quickly to tour England, where they were encouraged to return home. On their return, the choir commenced work on the college's first permanent building, Fishy Fanny Towers, an ambitious underground skyscraper which was to be the envy of their hometown and the pride of the whole world. Unfortunately, there was insufficient funding to complete the project, and the 3 bricks that were laid had to be sold to recuperate the losses incurred, leaving the choir and college penniless and brickless. Furious at the lack of financial success, Harry Cox turned to his old friend and crooked lawyer, Alf Hooker, to help
squeeze every last possible dime out of the choir.
The pair formed a spurious legal partnership, Cox-Hooker, and set about suing each of the original choir members for plagiarising the name Fishy Fanny, claiming that this had been a nickname of Harry's Aunt Fanny and had been in use since 1906. To help finance their legal defence, the choir began recording the songs they had performed on their recent tours, beginning a career which could have grossed in excess of $14 billion for each of the original members, had they also sold the recordings. To date, there are no surviving copies of the Fishy Fanny Festivity Choir's recordings. However, recently discovered manuscripts in the archives of the Nastyville's Vile Noise Phonographic Recording Company seem to suggest that they may never have had existed at all, or that if they did, they were nothing more than a pile of old shit that no one would want to listen to. Whatever the case, the situation ironically brings to mind the words of the old spiritual based on the Book of Testicles, bonus chapter 69, for which the choir are best remembered. Jesus, what's the fucking point?